Hey guys, it's time to talk about the Ruger LC9. Had a little bit of a problem this summer. I've been out with the LC9 probably 2 to 4 times a month, shooting anywhere from 50 to 100 rounds through it per shooting session. So I got some serious amount of rounds in this firearm now. And earlier in the summer I noticed a bit of a problem. I was kind of leaning against the table, next thing you know, boom, one of my mags popped out. Okay, thought it was a fluke, and then a couple days later did it again, and then shortly after that I started dropping mags while I was firing, and it was happening with all of my mags. And I have the USA made mags, the Metgar Italians, and one of these big 10 round pro mags, and I was dropping mags, probably one per, dropping it once per magazine. And so of course I hit the internet, started doing research, and I saw this is actually a fairly common problem. And so I did my research and I saw some people, it just resolved itself by using the Italian mags. Some people, did a little work and bent the tab out on their magazines, but I didn't want to do that. I know Ruger has great customer service. Why not take advantage of them? So I called Ruger and told them the problem, and they said send it in. And I said no. And they're like, send it in. And I'm like, no. I don't like sending stuff in. I'm that guy. I like doing everything myself. And they said, okay, that's fine. Just, you're doing it at your own risk. You break it, you buy it. And they said if I were to do something wrong, I could avoid the warranty. And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. So they sent me a new mag release and mag release spring, which we have here. And these are the old ones. I've already installed the new ones. And the problem is solved and tested. So I'm actually very pleased, which is why I wanted to wait to do this video to make sure I was in the clear before I made it. So after taking these out, it became very clear what the problem was. Pretty much we're going to angle this a little bit better so you can see. And you can almost see it right there. Let's zoom in a little more. Hopefully it focuses for us. There we go. See if we can get a little more. Can we do it? Can we do it? Probably not going to focus. We're going to have to zoom back out. Sorry, guys. Alright. Now, what you can see along here is where the kind of catch goes out and into the magazine. You can see it's very worn. You can see that the finish is worn off and that it's a little bit rounded. Now, it's going to be probably tough to see on camera. But if you look at it up close in person, that edge is actually very worn and very rounded, and the finish is pretty well scraped off it, and it's got a couple kind of sharp burrs and everything on it as well. So I replaced that out, replaced the spring out. The spring pretty much seemed the same, no difference in the spring, but obviously, either through use or maybe bad hardening or whatever, this part wore prematurely right along that little protrusion. And hopefully you're seeing how the light, that's a better angle right there. You can see how the light catches where the finish came off it. All along that edge, that right there, all that finish came off and made the gun basically so that the magazines were popping. So let me kind of show you what was going on. We'll zoom back out here. And here's the LC9 unloaded, of course, but we always treat them like they're loaded, so no need to safety check. Now here is a very loaded mag, just to show you what was going on. This is my Made in the USA mag, which was the one that was the worst. Now when I would put the magazine in the firearm like this, I could literally go like this, and the magazine would eject. And that was, it wouldn't do that with the Italian mags or the Pro Mag, but it would do it with these Made in the USA mags. The Made in Italy ones seem to be a little better, but they still did it. There wasn't, Then you got these Pro Mags, which didn't do it as much, but these are only range only. I never carried these, but I did drop the mag a couple of times while firing it. So I was able to fix it. And guys, let me just say one thing. This is probably one of the easiest things I ever did to fix a firearm. And I know Ruger did want to do it, but it was really, really simple. And I'll show you the trick to how I did it. And I'm not going to do it because there's no way I can get the camera to focus inside of this firearm, because you got to figure this catch is right here. I'm not going to focus or get it in, so I'm going to give you kind of a representation of what's going on in here. So let's move this out. And here we have the catch again. Zoom in the best we can. Hopefully that's good. And that is. And you can see there's a little dot here. Now how this works is this spring, which you can see has a little bit of a kink to it on the right hand side. This spring, the straight end, goes into here, this little hole. Sorry guys, trying to do this from behind the camera. Okay, so now you can see it's in there. Now how this works is this goes into your firearm, into the frame. And what I found was on this side, on this right hand side, there is a channel in the side of the frame. And there's also a little spot for this hook to go into as well. So what I did was, using a pair of pliers, I grabbed the spring up top. I held this in place with my hand. I basically put this into the firearm, pinched it on both sides so it wouldn't wiggle. And then I brought, with a pair of pliers, I brought this spring down and I latched this little hook into its place in the side of the frame. Now, of course, at that point, it kind of cocked it out because it wasn't in this little hole here. So it basically cocked it out at an angle. So if you're looking at it like this, this was anchored in, but then it was kind of cocked up like this. So, but being the angle of this, it holds it in place really good. So all I did from there is I continued to hold it with the pliers. And I came in from the bottom of the firearm with a dental pick and use a dental pick to basically force this back in, and then use the plier to get it into the hole, and it snapped in place. Its natural position, of course, is to be just how you see it with the spring in the hole and then there, so it actually snapped into place relatively easy. But you're going to have to use kind of that two-pronged approach. And I did try and do it the other way first by putting this in here, but it just wasn't enough of an anchor point and just kept popping out. So the quickest way to do it is, like I said, anchor this point in from the top with a pair of long, you need a pair of like long, thin needle nose pliers, like something you would use to tie flies, so you can get in there and you have a little room to maneuver. So I would anchor that in, then come in with from the bottom with a punch, a dental pick, anything you can, and just kind of basically you're just going to take it and force it down. Because like I said, it's going to be angled up like that. Force it down and it should snap into that hole, and then you have great retention again. So that's all it really involved. It was pretty quick. Like I said, it took me literally 5 minutes to doing it, and it was just a matter of getting the angle right and finding the right tools for the job. So now I have my LC9 back. It functions perfectly, and I am very, very happy with the repair. I'm very, very happy with Ruger for just sending it to me instead of making me send it in. It's always nice when a company is willing to let you do that. But it does. It solves that problem and takes care of it. You don't have to mess around with your magazines. It doesn't matter if it's a USA or Italian. These things should work in there, and there should be quite a bit of resistance. Now when you push on this, not only should this thing have a lot of resistance to it, but it should go in and damn near bottom out before that magazine releases. So if you're releasing with just a slight touch, you may want to consider talking to Ruger about it and seeing whether you want to send it back or get that replacement part yourself. I mean, even if you buy it, it's only a $3 part, but it's quick and easy to fix and solves that problem. And I know I see a lot of it on the forums, so I'm guessing, my guess is it's a either a bad heat treat on the part or just, you know, that they were kind of crummy. But as you can see, there's not a lot of purchase at all on that protrusion. There's very little. It's just, you know, like, what is it, like half a millimeter almost. And now you can see the light reflecting on it, that surface wore, and then it just started popping out. So if you do get that problem, very easy to fix, simple, and easy as can be.